Hello everyone, welcome back for another reading of the Hyrule Historia. Yeah, we are now in the second part of this book, The History of Hyrule, a Chronology. And this is where things, I believe, will get very interesting. This is where the timeline is going to be very well seen. I mean, very well elaborated a little more. I liked how the first section of the book was on the Skyward Sword and its world and the species within it, because that is the beginning of it all. Apparently, according to the book, it's called the Sky Era, the 1,000-year ago era kind of thing, which is very cool. Yep, we're now going to go over the timeline, which I'm looking at on page 69. Anyway, okay, let's begin. A Chronology of Hyrule, Land of the Gods. The history of the cycle of rebirth and the Triforce. This is a telling of tales passed on through the ages by humans. This is an introduction to the history of Hyrule, told chronologically, which weaves together the numerous Legend of Zelda stories. Is it a legend? It is an accurate history of a cycle of rebirth. There is evidence that the story of the Legend of Zelda begins with Skyward Sword. Up to this point, the legends of Zelda have been surrounded by myth and mystery, but now, with the help of the following information, you'll be able to discover for yourself the real history of Hyrule. Before you delve any further into this chapter, read this. Okay, I'll do that. Weaving history. The Chronicle merely collects information that is believed to be true at this time, and there are many obscured and unanswered secrets that will lie within the tale, As the stories and storytellers of Hyrule change, so too does its history. Hyrule history is a continuously woven tapestry of events. Changes that seem inconsequential, disregard without even a shrug, could evolve at some point to hatch new legends and perhaps change the tapestry of the history itself. And the hero shall be called Link. The heroes of these chronicles all share the same name, Link. These Links might have been the same person, a series of familial descendants, or a number of heroes with different names entirely. The Links of certain eras may also have been named after the legendary hero. Hylian princess bearing the name Zelda have also appeared throughout the history of Hyrule. It is likely that the name was handed down through the generations. So there's many princess, maybe even Queen Zeldas, it seems like. There was just how to read it. The story is not included in in the Chronicles. The series containing a few spin-off games, such as Link's Crossbow Training, that have not been included in these Chronicles. I mean, that makes sense. Why would they add that? Alright, here we go. I am taking a look at the official timeline, and I was right. The NES games are from the Heroes is Defeated timeline. Which is one that's really the most interesting to a lot of people. Let me explain this. Let me read the summary here, and I'll explain how it works. Because I have studied as much as I can on the timeline when it came out in Japan. A chronology of the history of Hyrule. The chronology begins with the creation of heaven and earth, immediately followed by the events of Skyward Sword. It splits after Ocarina of Time, with one timeline depicting the events follow Link's triumph over Ganon, and the others his defeat. The section of the timeline where Link triumphs is further divided into two separate realities: the Child Era, where Link returns to his original time, and the Adult Era, where the Hero of Time disappears and Ganondorf is free to return unopposed. Yep. So basically what happens is the Ocarina of Time, being it messed with time, it used all three different scenarios that would happen at the end of the game. See, Ocarina of Time was a very groundbreaking game in both the gaming world and the Legend of Zelda 2, because that's where the 3 timelines split off. And who knows, maybe one day there'll be a 4th one. Who knows? So, here's how the eras are going to work as we read them in detail, which is nice. They chart out here in the beginning. They have creation, the creation of the land and the sky, then the era of the goddess Hylia. I guess that's where Hyrule gets its name. Skyward Sword, the ancient battle, and the reincarnation of goddess Hylia. There's also the Sky Era, a return to the surface. There's the era of chaos, the sacred realm is sealed. Era of prosperity, the establishment of Hyrule Kingdom. Then we have the Force Era, which is the Minish Cap, the rise of the evil of Viti, and Four Swords, the resurrection of Viti. And then we have the era of the Hero of Time, which is one many people love the most, because those are Ocarina of Time, the Sacred Realm becomes the Dark World, Ganondorf becomes the Demon King, and then there's also Majora's Mask, which is in one of the Heroes' triumphant timelines. Let me start with the Heroes Defeated timeline to read to you, because it's only one of them and simpler. The decline of the hero and the last hero, which means the hero has failed and Ganondorf has won. The Imprisoning War, a link to the past, the resurrection of Ganon. And that is the era of, and this is the era of light and dark, by the way, which is also in the Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, the resurrection of Ganon. They have the Golden Era, Link's Awakening, which is my favorite Zelda game. If you wanted to know that, my favorite Zelda game is Link's Awakening. The Monarchs of Hyrule use the Triforce, which is good, because then peace can happen. And then the end of decline, the tragedy of Princess Zelda 1. Legend of Zelda, the resurrection of Ganon. Ganon is now fully resurrected. But in the adventure of Link, which is Zelda 2, the resurrection of Ganon is prevented. Very good. So now we go off to the Hero is Triumphant story. The Sacred Realm, and we're going to do first we're going to do the Child Era. The Sacred Realms Protected. The Twilight Realm and the Legacy of the Hero. This, let's see, the Majora's Mask. This is still in the Hero of Time era, because Majora's Mask is this Link is the same as Ocarina of Time Link. The Demon Thief Ganondorf is executed. He's gone. They banished him to the Twilight Realm in this storyline, and Link went off to find Navi because she left him. Twilight Princess, the Shadow Invasion. This is in the Twilight Era. Off to the Shadow Era. Four Swords Adventure, the reincarnation of Ganondorf, the resurrection of Vati. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I only seen that word. I only see his name in text. I never heard anyone say it. And now let's go off to the Adult Era. Ganondorf is sealed. The Heroes of Wind and a New World. Here is the era with where we're without a hero. This is where Link stays an adult and he disappears for 7 years. So that gives a sealed Ganondorf a opportunity to escape. Hyrule is sealed and then flooded, which leads to Wind Waker, the era of the Great Sea. Ganondorf is resurrected, and which goes to Phantom Hourglass, new continent discovered, end of the Great Voyage. So basically they're looking for new land. They lived on little islands for a while. If you played Wind Waker, you know what I'm talking about. And a new Hyrule is founded, which is Spirit Tracks. The era of Hyrule's rebirth. Demon King Malatus is resurrected. I don't know the details of this, but it's really cool how each one really is a different scenario. You have one where Hyrule was flooded and gone, and they rebuilt it. They have one where Ganondorf was trying to escape, but they sealed him back and got rid of him. And then they got one where things were going good, and then tragedy struck, but they prevented the events of Ocarina of Time from happening again. This is excellent. If you want to see the picture here, the page, here it is. This is the timeline. This is it. There we go. That's what the timeline looks like. Which was a big deal. Like a really big deal. They actually was a thing called Zelda timeline theorists. It was and we all seen. And if you watch AV Gen, hopefully you've seen his video on Chronologically Confused about Zelda, because that's how it is. The games were all over the place, and we didn't know what was where. So we had timeline theorists to discuss where it was. and a lot of them try to fit it all in one. That was the mistake. Some of them, I don't think there was any really that thought of this branching thing. They were split, and I don't think anyone thought of that. Alright, let's read of the creation. This is the overall mythology, the theology, or in the Zelda's universe, the religion of Hyrule. The legend of the goddesses, finally saying goddesses, and the hero. This world was created by the three goddesses. They did not intend to unite the regions of this world, but instead let the inhabitants have free reign of the land. In this world, the three goddesses left behind the omnipotent Triforce, the creation, the world created by the goddesses. And if we play Ocarina of Time, the Great Deku Tree explains it in one of the best cutscenes at the time ever. Well, really the first sophisticated cutscene that I know of, and a lot of people. I don't want to say it is the most sophisticated cutscene because I could be wrong, but as far as my knowledge goes, it was definitely very, very cutting edge at the time. The world created by the goddesses. This world was created by three goddesses during the time of chaos. Din, finally, yeah, I knew one was named Din. I always forget the names. Din, the goddess of power, created the land. Nayru, the goddess of wisdom, created order. And Faror, the goddess of courage, created the diverse inhabitants. Upon leaving the world, the goddesses left behind the Triforce, 3 golden triangles. It is said that any wish of the possessor of the Triforce desires will come true. And they have a couple of pictures here I'll show you. The 3 goddesses. Din, Nayru, and Faror each left a crest behind. Each of these symbols, the crest of power, wisdom, and courage, can be found in the location related to its respective goddesses. Oh, that's what they are. I actually never knew that. One of them looks kind of like wind, one of them looks like, you'll see, I'll show you. The legacy of the gods, the Triforce. The golden goddesses departed from the world they created and left the Triforce in care of the goddess Hylia. It is unknown why the Triforce was left behind. Okay, so Hylia is the goddess that cares for the land as the 3 original. Okay, that makes sense. I get it now, because I was wondering who Hylia was. I always knew there was a Hylia, but I didn't know she was a goddess. I always thought she was like the giants of Termina in Majora's Mask, which I'm sure will be explained, so... See, when I say nerdy Zelda stuff like that, I don't really feel like I should explain myself, because I know they'll be explained in this book eventually. The Omnipotent Triforce. The Triforce grants wishes to those who touch it. Since the Triforce does not distinguish between good or evil, it allows both good and bad wishes. A strong heart, innate ability, and the balance of the 3 virtues, power, wisdom, and courage, are required to be granted a wish. If one who does not possess the balance of the 3 virtues touches the Triforce, the 3 pieces split apart. The finder is left with the piece that personifies what he or she values most. The other 2 pieces will appear in the hands of 2 individuals chosen by the will of the goddess. One must reunite the 3 pieces in order to obtain true power. See, that is what every Zelda game's about. In a nutshell, Ganondorf tries to use the Triforce for his own wishes, but first he must find the 2. And Zelda is always the one he kidnaps first, because he knows she has the Triforce of wisdom, while he has the Triforce of power. And Link is always looking for a Link, because Link is the Triforce of courage, but Ganondorf always knows, or Ganon, depending on the game, always knows that Link will be courageous enough to stand up to Ganondorf. So he'll always know that the Triforce of courage will come to him. That's what he always counts on, especially in a game like Wind Waker. It's like he kidnapped all those girls in, he had the dragon kidnap all the girls in all the islands, and eventually one of them was bound to be Link's brother, or sister. Okay, that's the end of the creation era. We're now in the era of the goddess Hylia, from Skyward Sword. The Ancient Battle. The goddess Hylia and the Ancient Battle. During the era of the goddess Hylia, many demons arose in pursuit of the Triforce. The leader, Demise, the demon king, tried to take over the world with his evil powers. After a battle against the demonic forces, Hylia gathered the humans who had suffered along with the Triforce onto a plot of land and set it into the sky. She positioned a heavy barrier of clouds between the islands in the sky and the land below to protect the humans and the Triforce. The goddess and the remaining tribes on the surface battled for their lives against Demise. They were victorious and sealed them away. That explains a lot. A lot, you have no idea. Especially since I'm playing Skyward Sword right now for the first time. That's cool stuff. I love learning about this stuff. And they have the different species on the side that fought. Demise. It says that Demise is the most evil of all evil, who commands enough power to destroy the world. Appears in each era and looks different to each person who sees him. His ultimate goal is to obtain the Triforce and take over the land with his demonic minions. The surface tribes, non-human tribes such as stone-eating Gorons, the cloud barrier, the thick, vast expanse of clouds placed between the sky and the land, sealing them away from each other. No one is allowed to pass from one place to the other, until the events of Skyward Sword happened, where they forced it open, and got Zelda down with them, causing Link to go in. Since they are the wielders of pieces of Triforce, they needed them. The Sheikah tribe. One of the one of the tribes that serve the goddess Hylia. They are blith individuals chosen by the goddess to watch over the sealed demon king. This role is passed on from one generation to the next, and continues to this day in the Zelda universe. Continue throughout the timeline. The land of Hylia, the center of the world, where the temple of Hylia was built. This is where the goddess Hylia gathered the surviving humans onto a plot of land and sent them into the sky. It is here also where the demon king was sealed away, which is why the land became known as the Sealed Grounds. And the temple of Hylia is the Sealed Temple. So yeah, here we are. These are the symbols of the goddesses right here. Those are very lovely. And yeah, this is important to know, people. This is stuff I'm learning for the first time. Okay, we're in the Sky Era. Was that the era we were in before? Nope, we are now in the Sky Era of Skyward Sword. Okay. Skyloft and the Legend of the Goddess. The plot of land Hylia sent in the sky became known as the Isle of the Goddess. The islands in the sky where surviving humans dwell became known as Skyloft. There the humans lived in guardian birds known as Loftlings, given to them by Hylia. Only a few individuals on the surface knew the existence of the goddess in Skyloft. After a few thousand years, their story was forgotten and became legend. That's what always happens, and that's why Link games usually repeat. A big message to me in the Legend of Zelda series is history repeats itself. It absolutely does, and no matter what time period you're from, people are the same, and they'll have the same goals, and then the same things will happen over and over and over. Cause and effect. But it always goes... But in the end, the hero always prevails. You know, that's really what history is all about. Like I've been saying, Zelda really relates to human history in a way. And that's one of the way it definitely shows it, because there's always times where bad things happen. They're always it started maybe from a different reason and had different names, but it's always the same cause and effect, and always the good will prevail over it. It always happens. Okay, go read the bullet points on the side. Isle of the Goddess. The area on the surface where Hylia gathered the humans, rent the earth, and sent them into the sky. Depictions of the Triforce and what would later be known as the Sage Medallions can be seen on the ceiling of the entrance to the temple. Where the land was split from the surface, half of the temple was as well, along with half of the depiction of the 6 medallions. The remains of the temple. Skyloft. Skyloft is connected to the Isle of the Goddess by a bridge. It is paradise with a spring-like weather year-round. It's beautiful. I love that. The Legend Keepers. The Keepers of Legend protects the secrecy of the ancient documents about the surface and the Goddess Sword, which is located in the statue of the Goddess. It's a very good thing. to me how Link linked the world of Skyloft to the ground again. Because it is kind of an injustice, like keeping people in ignorant bliss. I mean, people are happy, but for the wrong reasons, and they're not truly free. Which is what made Link so powerful in the beginning. So, which made the first Link very unique over the others. The development of Skyloft. During the ancient battle, the humans had no choice but to free the surface to survive. On Skyloft, they developed a militia and slowly built up their strength. Gaipora, the keeper of the legends that had been passed down through his family, built the Knight Academy. Gaipora brought kendo training and loft-wing riding together and established the Order of the Knights. Oh wow, the alphabet. These characters date back to the time when the goddess Hylia was governing the land. They can be found on the pedestal of the statue of the goddess and on various buildings on the surface. They are ancient and are now impossible to interpret. Characters of Gates of Time. Yeah, they show that language sometimes. It shows how ancient the characters are, like in Wind Waker. I use a lot of examples from Wind Waker. It's a very good game to explain things with. Wind Waker, there was a lot of scenes where they use this ancient text. Now I'll show you the characters in a minute. Wait, how many? 5, 11, 17. There are 22 characters in this alphabet. Still in the Sky era. The goddess Hylia's reincarnation. As a seal of demise, the Demon King began to weaken. A human girl was born. That girl was named Zelda, and she was the goddess Hylia reincarnated. Wow. She does look like the statue, when you think of it. The statue of the goddess on the island of the goddess connected to Skyloft. I hope you've been paying attention so you know what that is. Zelda grew up to be a beautiful woman who was chosen to play the role of the goddess for the wing ceremony at the Knight Academy. Skillfully handling his rare crimson Loftwing, Link was victorious in the year's wing ceremony, and so won the honor of performing the ceremony of the goddess opposite Zelda. Yeah, but come on, it was so easy, that part. Like those other guys had no idea what they were doing. I mean, granted, I had to figure it out too. I was like flying around, like I thought it was a race for like most of the time, but then I realized, oh wait, you have to get the thing. Whatever. Statue of the goddess. Okay, they show a little picture of them. They show a picture of Zelda with her Loftwing. Demon Lord Girahim. Around the same time, Demise sent his follower Girahim to the surface, where Girahim gave himself the title of Lord. Though secret plotting and scheming, he unleashed demon hordes on the land in an attempt to find the goddess and resurrect the demon King Demise. Girahim finally found Zelda in the sky. Again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing these names. He produced. Just let me know if I am. So, anyone who knows, he produced a tornado that penetrated the clouds and caused her to fall to the surface. Oh, that was him. Well, duh. The wing ceremony. These are bullet points. The little notes. The exam that follows students to academically advance in the Knight Academy. The one who rides their Loftwing skillfully enough to obtain the bird statuette before the others becomes the champion and advances to their senior year. Link is 17 and a half in this game, which is a good age. Almost a man. At least in those times. The Ceremony of the Goddess. The champion of the wing ceremony receives the gift of sailcloth from the individual playing the goddess. The sailcloth is used at the end of the ritual when a winner demonstrates their courage by leaping off by leaping off a precipice and opening the cloth at the last moment to glide safely to the ground. Which showed me a million tries, was annoying in the game. The goddess role is played out just as it always has been since the ancient times. This year, the 25th anniversary. Ooh, good. Get it? Because it really is the 25th anniversary of Zelda games. I thought it was actually. I was so nerdy. I thought I got a laugh at it, and even in the game. Okay, this year, the 25th anniversary of the Knight Academy, the sailcloth is given to the champion atop the statue of the goddess. Demon Lord Girahim, a master sorcerer. Girahim can teleport and summon demons. I gotta remember that when I fight him. Knight Academy, a school dedicated to training young students to become the knights. Their honors students become the rescue knights. Their duties include saving people who have fallen from the islands in the sky and patrolling at all hours upon a loft wing. The students who pass the wing ceremony become seniors and are given uniforms, which is Link's tunic he still wears throughout the entire timeline. In the 25th anniversary year, when Link becomes a senior, the uniforms are green. How convenient. How convenient. Okay, same era, same game. The spirit guide Fi and the hero. Following the path and his destiny... Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Before I go any further, I said I'd show you the... This is what the text looks like. I might as well take a look around. Here's Link in his senior uniform. And there's, who is that? There's a rescue knight on his loft wing. There's Zelda on her loft wing. Statue of the goddess, the Girahim. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Good stuff, good stuff. Anyway, let me continue. Following the path of the destiny, oh wow, I really messed myself up. Following the path of destiny and the legend passed on to Gaipora, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Link was guided to the goddess sword enshrined within the statue of the goddess. That's pretty much as far as I got in the game so far. In order to find Zelda, Link was escorted by Fi, the spirit, or Fi, whatever, I'm going to say Fi, the spirit of the sword. Down to the land of legend, Link's quest began as he plunged through the clouds, holding the sailcloth given to him by Zelda. A pilgrimage of self-discovery. After her fall from the heavens, Zelda, now on the surface, was rescued by an old man. Here's where the spoilers begin. The old man told Zelda that she was the reincarnation of Hylia, and needed to cleanse herself in the temples of the sky and earth. Understanding her destiny, and clothed in her garments of the goddess, Zelda set off for the Sky View and Earth Springers. At the Earth Spring, Zelda was captured by Girahim's henchmen, the Bokoblins, but saved by Impa of the Sheikah tribe, and Impa has been protecting her many times throughout the series, whose responsibility was to protect the reincarnated goddess. I'm sure that old man's the same old man that shows up all the time. If you played the first Legend of Zelda, I'm imagining that's the same reincarnate where you walk into the cave to get the sword, and he tells you it's dangerous to go alone, take this. That sounds about right. That sounds about... Oh, it's an old woman, I'm sorry. Old woman. I don't know why I said man 3 times, read man multiple times. I guess I'm used to old men in caves in Zelda. Okay, we'll read the bullet points. The Goddess Sword. The sword kept inside the statue of the goddess. Within the chamber of the sword, the goddess Hylia left the sword and its spirit Fi to guide the hero. The sword and its legend have always been protected by Gaipora's family. Legend has it that evil returns to the land. The sword will begin to glow and can be drawn by the chosen hero. Garments of the goddess. The same white dress that the goddess Hylia wore. It has been told that the harp also once belonged to the goddess. And the old woman. She has been the protector of the sealed temple for thousands of years. She's actually the same Impa that saved Zelda, she's actually the same Impa that saved Zelda, but of this era. Cool. Map of the surface. The surface is divided into 3 regions. Each region is named after one of the dragons, Faron, Eldin, and Lanayru, who protect the sacred flames. A thick forest grows in the Faron region. The Eldin area is volcanic, and Lanayru is desert. Though it was a lush green landscape. Cool. Same era, same game. But we are going into the 1,000 years ago era. Looks like. This is probably when in the Zelda universe they had recorded history at that point. Zelda's return to the past. There could be time traveling in this. Zelda prayed at 2 springs, purifying herself and regaining her memories as the goddess Hylia. In order to strengthen the seal that imprisoned the Demon King demise, Zelda attempted to return to the ancient era from the Temple of Time in the desert. However, Girahim found her. Link showed up just in time. He fought with Girahim, protecting Zelda and Impa while they were entering the Gate of Time. Upon entering, Impa destroyed the gate so that Girahim could not follow into the ancient past. Spoilers are killing me right now. But, you know, I gotta read what I gotta read. Link becomes a true hero. The other Gate of Time, located at the Sealed Temple, was broken. As the seal holding the imprisoned began to break, Link and his comrade Groose, helped the monster back. All the while, Link continued with his task of tempering the goddess sword and sacred flames of the golden goddesses. Imbued with the immense sacred power of the Force, the goddess sword was transformed into the Master Sword. To reactivate the Gate of Time, Link pointed his sword skyward sword, charging it with energy and readying it for the Skyward Strike, which is a cool move. It was a little tricky to know how to do it really at will. Basically, if you're playing the game, just hold it up. Don't try to like hold up like this or like anything. Just hold it straight up, and you have to wait a little while. The reaction time's not that great, but you know the Motion Plus was new then, so there's bound to be little bugs like that. I've heard some complaining about Skyward Sword's motion control. People go way too far with it though, because I like the motion control. I think it's a lot of fun. It was a good idea, and Granted, I haven't did everything in motion control yet, and I will find things annoying. I found the use of the parachuting thing annoying, but I got used to it. You know, once you get used to it, it's interesting and it's fun. The two springs. When Zelda purifies her body in the Skyview Spring and Earth Spring, dedicating her prayers to the statue of the goddess, her memory of being Hylia returns. That's kind of a redundant bullet point there. I don't know why they put it there. Groose. A young man of Skyloft who comes down to the surface looking for Zelda. He likes Zelda, he's a crush on her. But he's a jerk, so he won't get her. Link will. Force. Force. The sacred power the gods gave to the world. It's the breath of life itself. Skyward Strike. The power collected by pointing the sword skyward when the goddess sword becomes the Master Sword. Its power are enhanced and emits a great light. A brief encounter. This is the beginning of the 1,000 years ago era. Or just called 1,000 years ago, but I want to say 1,000 years ago era. I mean, it sounds more appropriate. After passing through the Gate of Time, Zelda and Impa arrived at the sealed grounds in the ancient past. Link, using the second gate, followed them there. Zelda told Link that in order to strengthen the seal imprisoning Demise, she must slumber in the sealed temple. The surface became stable and Skyloft flourished. Thousands of years passed, and Zelda fell asleep. Okay, we're back in the Sky era of Skyward Sword. It's going from Sky era to 1,000 years ago back to Sky area, so I guess this isn't an era, it just happens in between. Okay, so, yeah. The destruction of Demise. After returning to his own era, Link found the legendary Triforce. He became worthy of its omnipotent power upon the completion of a number of trials, at which time he received the crest of the Triforce. He was granted his wish. The statue of the goddess returned to its former place in the sealed grounds, where it destroyed the Demon King Demise. After thousands of years of sleep, Zelda awoke. The resurrection of the Demon King Demise. Let's see. The engaged Girahim kidnapped Zelda and took her through the Gate of Time. After arriving in the past, Girahim performed the ritual to resurrect the Demon King Demise. Link followed, battling and defeating Girahim, but he was too late. Demise is reawakened. After an intense battle, Link defeated the demon. Upon its termination, the Demon King's hatred was absorbed and sealed in the Master Sword. The demons on the surface no longer terrorize its inhabitants. A return to the surface. Zelda and the others returned to the present time. The atmosphere was peaceful and there was a feeling of new beginning. Zelda resolved to live on the surface and protect the Triforce. However, the destruction of Demise was not the end of the battle. It was the beginning of a curse. A never-ending cycle of reincarnation. This is where the game's history starts to repeat itself going. Yes, so a never-ending cycle of the reincarnation of the Demon King, whose hatred for those with the blood of goddess and the spirit of the hero is everlasting, which is Ganon, or Ganondorf. Ganondorf is a, what's their names? He is a Goron, no, starts with a G. I think I can find it in the index. I hope there's an index. There should be an index. It would make perfect sense if there was an index. My apologies. Okay, there's no glossary. That would have been nice. What is Ganondorf? What is Zelda? Ego Raptor fans will get that joke. Man, I'll tell you in a future episode. Ganondorf is a species of a women-only civil society who has a male born every 100 years, which is always ends up being Ganondorf. And he's Ganon when he turns into a pig-like creature. People have been theorizing he becomes king of the Moblins, or he is a Moblin himself. The crest of the Triforce. The proof of the complete power of the Triforce appears on the marks on the back of the hands. The top triangle represents power, the bottom left represents wisdom, and the bottom right represents courage. So I was wrong. I said in an episode of my main series, Video Game Analysis Board, when I did an analysis on Zelda, I said it doesn't matter which ones you put in which triangle. I was wrong. You have to put the power on top, the bottom left has to be wisdom, and the bottom right has to be courage. So I was wrong, people. I was wrong. Once the bearer of the three triangles attains a perfect balance of the attributes they represent, the true power of the Triforce is revealed. The ritual. To resurrect the Demon King, his loyal follower Gira must sacrifice Zelda, releasing the goddess Hylia's spirit. Girahim's true form is the evil spirit of the Demise Sword. And the Flan's Impa. Fi's role as Link's guide is complete. The Master Sword and its spirit. Fi and Spirit Fi are returned to the resting place in the pedestal inside the statue of the goddess Impa, returns to the past, and continues to look after the Master Sword and protect it from its curse. Okay, we are now this is many years later, according to the timeline markers on the side. They're on the left-hand corner of the page, left-hand side of the page. The Seal of the Sacred Realm. The Kingdom of Hyrule. Created by the Golden Goddesses and protected by the goddess Hylia, the world eventually became known as Hyrule. The Hylians, descendants of Hylia, lived in Hyrule and possessed magical abilities. After years of peace, a wave of chaos once again engulfed the land. We are now in the era of chaos, and the game focused around it is Ocarina of Time. The Battle for the Sacred Realm. The legend of a supreme power spread throughout the lands, whetting the appetites of those who would possess the Triforce and inciting vicious battles between them. Rauru, the Sage of Light, constructed the Temple of Time, which contained the only existing entrance to the Sacred Realm, where the Triforce was located. With power stronger than both Time and the Master Sword, Rauru sealed the Sacred Realm. The pedestal holding the Master Sword was closed behind the Door of Time, and the keys to opening the door, the spiritual stones of Forest, Fire, and Water, were protected by their respective people. The Triforce was placed in the Temple of Light, located in the Sacred Realm, which was now isolated from Hyrule. Protecting the Triforce in the Temple of Light, Rauru became the guardian of the power of the gods. Temple of Time, the only existence of the Sacred Realm's Temple of Light. The Temple of Time shares the same name as the temple in the Lanayru Desert of the era of the goddess Hylia. It is thought that Rauru built the Temple of Time directly over the ruins of the Sealed Temple. I can agree with that. Crests of the Royal Family. The crest of the goddess Hylia had a bird-like crest, and the people of Skyloft rode giant birds. The crest of the royal family incorporates the historical important bird, as well as the three triangles of the Triforce. And that is so cool to know. I had no idea. That was really cool. Okay, that was the era of prosperity. We go into the era of prosperity. And then many years later, the establishment of Hyrule Kingdom. The descendants of the goddess Hylia, who reincarnated as Princess Zelda, established the Kingdom of Hyrule and became Hyrule's royal family. In order to protect the Triforce, Hyrule Castle was built in the center of Hyrule. Hyrule Castle was built in the center of Hyrule, where the Temple of Time was located. The royal family watched over the Triforce, keeping its existence unknown to others. Many members of the royal family were born with special powers because of the lineage connected to them to the goddess. Princesses were repeatedly given the name Zelda, and a name that came from historical legends. Alright, we're now in the Force era, and this is the Minish Cap game. And the game we're surrounding is the Minish Cap. Which I never played. I really do have to play the Minish Cap one of these days. The Picori and the Light Force. The hero of men. In the first major event that happened since the Kingdom of Hyrule was established, the world was engulfed by evil beings and shrouded in darkness. It was then a tiny Picori descended from the sky, bringing a golden light and a sword. Using the sword, the hero of men sealed the evils away in a bound chest and brought peace to the world once again. The golden light was the Light Force. The royal family and the Picori. After sealing away the evil beings, the royal family of Hyrule became careful overseers of the sword, which became known as the Picori Blade. Furthermore, the royal family kept the existence of the land of Picori, the Minish Realm, hidden. In gratitude to the Picori, the people held Picori Festival once a year. The Light Force, a source of infinite power from the heavens that hold enormous powers of the Force, which originally dwelled in all things. The sword fighting tournament and the Picori Blade. Legend said that every 100 years a secret door would open up and the Picori would pass through and enter the world of the humans. The customs of the Picori Festival has continued for many years, among them a sword fighting tournament. The award ceremony was held in front of the Picori Blade, and it was the only chance to see the blade. The sword fighting tournament. A tournament that happens during the Picori Festival at Hyrule Castle. The champion of the tournament is customarily presented with an award in front of the Picori Blade. Okay, same era, same game. Vitae, Reborn, and the, I hope I'm pronouncing that word right, name right, and the Four Swords Training. Unexpected evil at the Picori Festival. For the 100th year of the Picori Festival, there was an unusually grand celebration. In the customary sword fighting tournament, an unknown man named Vitae was the victor. Vitae, I don't know how to pronounce it, believed the Light Force was in the bound chest. He broke the Picori Blade to unseal the chest and found that it did not contain the Light Force at all. The evil that had been sealed inside poured forth from the chest. Vitae turned Princess Zelda into stone and headed off in search of the Light Force. Princess Zelda. The Princess of Hyrule, said to have mysterious powers. Afraid Princess Zelda will get in his way, Vitae turns her into stone. The secret of the Picori. The curse placed on Princess Zelda could only be broken with the sacred power of the Picori Blade. The tribe of the Picori, also called the Minish, were the only ones able to fix the Picori Blade, and they could only be seen by children. Therefore, Smith, the great blacksmith, proposed that the king of Hyrule enlist the help of young Link. The king told Link where the Minish dwelled. Then, with the broken Picori Blade and the smith's sword in hand, Link set off in search of their land. Smith and Link. Smith is a blacksmith and Link his apprentice. Smith makes an impressive sword that is to be given to the winner of the sword fighting tournament. Link and Princess Zelda are childhood friends who were both in attendance of the tournament. The evil sorcerer Vitae. Originally known in the Minish sage Elzo's apprentice, Vitae courted the evil within the hearts of humans and eventually fulfilled his wish of becoming an evil sorcerer. Vitae believes that the Light Force is kept within the bound chest, sealed with the Picori Blade. He takes part in the sword fighting tournament to get close to it. Meeting Ezlo. On his way to Bikori's home in the Minish woods, young Link met Ezlo, a man suffering from a curse. Link came to learn that Ezlo had been a Minish sage, and Vati, had been his apprentice. When Vati put on the mage's cap made by Ezlo, he gained evil powers and cursed Ezlo by changing him into the shape of a cat. Alright, well, I'm going to end it off here, even though there's more of the Force Hour to read, because these episodes will get a little longer now, because we're really getting into the more text-based stuff of the book. So I'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching. We're going to continue with the Force Era, which is revolved around the game of the Minish Cat, and then where I wanted to go, but we don't have enough time. I don't want it to keep you too long. We'll end up in the era of the Hero of Time, which revolves around Ocarina of Time. I'll see you then.